it up and throw it down with all of our best friends. We'll drop the top and hit a spot where summer never ends. Cause a good time and a peace of mind are just around the bend. Are you ready? You know I'm ready.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Season Flips. Today, we're not really doing a vlog, but we're gonna do a kind of taking care of all my animals. So, fish tank here, turtle tank over there. Then we have Lily, of course, and then we're gonna do the bird feeder too. I mean, that's not technically pets, but it's animals that we take care of. So we're gonna start it off over here with the turtles. I'm gonna show you kind of daily routine taking care of them, but we're also gonna do stuff that you have to do like not all the time. I've been waiting to do it so that I could film it here. And all that kind of maintenance stuff needs to be done, so I thought I'd make a video out of it, taking care of all the animals. So, turtles are first. Alright, so we're starting with my turtle tank. This is my 10-gallon turtle tank right here. Eventually they're going to be moved up to a 20-gallon. I have that 20-gallon actually right now. I just have to get it all set up. But currently this is what they're in. They are 2 yellow-bellied turtles. So a basic thing of what we're going to be doing is, this is not everything we have to do. There's stuff like water changes and gravel cleaning, but all that's been done recently. I did that before I made this video. You can tell this hose is like still wet from the last time I did it. So that kind of stuff's not going to be in here, but that's all very simple. Like you take out 25 or 50% of the water, do a water change, suck up the crap and stuff with the gravel back. So what we are going to be doing is just like lights, just turning them on pretty much. Filter changes, feeding and care. Making sure they get the right plants, nutrients, plants and stuff, and the right mineral blocks and stuff. So these are my 2 turtles, Taz and Ty. This one here is Ty. The other one is kind of unhealthy. He's a lot smaller and he doesn't eat any of the food I put in, so he's gonna need to be checked out, I guess. But he eats the plants, and so yeah, we're gonna start with just basic feeding. What I feed him here is Zoom Ed's Aquatic. This is baby turtle food for hatchlings up to 2 inches long. So that's what they eat now. And then here, if I can get this open, this is what they'll move up to next. This is for like 6-inch. I think it's 3 to 6 inch. So that big one could start eating these, but I have to half them. I have a little turtle knife thing over here. Let me grab that. Right here. This is my turtle knife. I just kind of, turtle feeding knife, I guess. I just cut it up with that little thing. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is feed them, and then we'll move on to, so actually the first thing I'm going to do, this is kind of obvious, I'm not going to start with feeding, I'm just going to start with lights. Every morning I get up, I turn on their lights. This right here is their heat lamp, heading on this basking dock right here, and this is a UV lamp that gives them vitamins that you would typically get from the sun, but since they're indoor they need that. So you just flip these on, and some people are going to say it's bad to keep these lights off them because they need heat. But they actually need just as much dark as they need with the heat. So you have to turn all those lights off overnight while you sleep, I guess. Because they need just as much dark as they do light throughout the day. So the first thing we're going to do is feed them. And what I like to do is I open up the food just like that. And then I have a little bowl over here. I keep some of my supplies in. And I have this little plastic spoon. It's just like kind of hard one. And so I get them a little bit of food kind of in the thing. This is actually a new thing. I used to just use my hands, but if you use this and kind of set it in front of him, I just do like a little bit. And with turtles, you feed them until they stop, because they'll know when they're full. So I like to use this spoon because you can kind of get it right in front of him, and with the filter on, it doesn't float him away, float the food away from him. So you'll see he's munching away on that. This one eats a ton. You can definitely see him eating, and then when he finishes that, I'll just get another spoonful here. I'll let Jackson come hold the camera. That way he can kind of film for us. So, it looks like he's finished that. Just grab him another spoonful, just like that. Oh, that's not quite enough. Just like that. Just dump it in front of him. And I'll keep going until he stops, and then what you have to do is whatever they don't eat, you have to take out, or else it clouds up the water really bad. A solution to that is, this is actually pretty good stuff right here. It's Appy Turtle Sludge Destroyer. That works pretty good, but still you don't want to leave the extra food in there. So I take this same spoon and scoop it back out and throw it in this little cup here, and then I go and dump it away. So I'll finish his feeding process, and then we'll move on to talking about the plant kind of cleanup and the filter. Alright, so I just got done feeding him. I gave him a few of these bigger ones also because these are a little bit more nutritious when they get larger. This is my little cutting board I kind of use just to cut it up so I don't scratch up this nice table. It's just a coaster. But so I cut those in half and I gave him some of those. And I scooped out the excess that he didn't want. You can see there's food in there. That's just how you do it. Alright, so I just got done feeding him. I gave him most of the little pellets that I showed you and then some of these big ones because those are a little bit more nutritious for as he grows. I left just a few kind of on the dock for the other guy. And went ahead and scooped out what's extra, just like I showed you earlier. You take that extra out, I'll go dump that in the trash in a minute. And so now we're going to move on to the filter. We need to replace these filters. I'll show you how disgusting they are. Turtles, for you that don't know, turtles are a lot more dirty creatures than fish. So you have to replace these filters like a lot more. Or you have to get a good filter like this. I would actually highly suggest this. This is, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's a Tetra dual filter. So you take this top off, and you can see there's 2 filter panels in there, and so it has 2 separate ones to filter with. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do that, and then we'll clean up some of these leaves. So to change out these filters, first of all, you just take this top off very simply. No, you can leave that there. I'll just set that to the side here. And then you start with one filter. I would highly suggest having a aquarium bucket like this. And if you look at that, get a close in on how disgusting that is. That's from like just barely a few months. So what I'm going to do is get it over the bucket because this will leak. Take this little tab off just like that. And then there's this green thing actually comes out of the middle. And those are, I believe, carbon filters. And that thing I'll just dump in there and I'll dispose of that in a minute. And then I'll do the other one just the same, but I'm just going to do this one right now just to show you. And then so I have the replacement here. These are the same filters from the same company. What you're going to go ahead and do is stick that in there just at least a little bit of the way. I like to do it about like that. And you need to set that down for a minute. And this is your carbon right here. This is what filters out. This is what actually chemically filters the water right here. This is a little packet. So you need to take something to open that with. I'll just use my aquarium knife again right here. This is a lot more tough material than I expected. I've always used scissors before, I guess. Okay, so again, do it over a bucket just like this because it makes a lot of mess. And then you're going to take your little bag, just dump all these carbon bits down into the filter just like that. Make sure you get them all because these are very helpful, especially in turtle tanks with how disgusting they are, I said earlier. They're fun to have, but they're very dirty, so you want a very good filtration system just like this one. So when you get it filled up, you're just going to pinch it back off at the top just like that, and you take this little clip and you snap it back on. And then you come back over to your filter, slide it back right down just where you got it from. And then I'm going to do the other one, but I'm not going to do it on camera because it's the exact same process. You just do the same thing. And then you also want to scrub out the inside of this, but I'll do that later also. That's not very much fun. So I'll see you guys after I've done this second filter. Alright, so I just went ahead and finished that second filter. You can see we got a nice new clean one in there. And then we're just going to take our lid back here again and put it right on there. And if you guys haven't seen my filter, it's a rock filter. And it's kind of like a waterfall thing. So here's their nasty old ones. We'll just dispose of those in a little while. But I'm going to do the fish also, so I'll just get rid of it all at one time. The next thing that we want to do is, you might not have this problem, but I like to put in live plants. And yes, I do need to get new ones. They've about ate these ones all up. These these turtles, they love plants. This used to be a giant plant full of leaves, and they ate every single leaf. But as you can tell, they drop a lot of them. And this will just muck my filter up a lot faster. Get it all disgusting. So I'll just take my this spoon right here is like my favorite aquarium tool, but I'll just kind of scoop it all into one corner, and then I'll slowly just scoop it out, and I'll put it in this same little cup here. And I'll just do that until I get most of the leaves out. If some are still very green, like this one here, I'll leave that for them because they obviously just kind of picked that one and they can still eat it. But like dead ones like this and these over here, I'm going to scoop all those out. And I'm not going to do it all now because that'll take a while. But that's what you have to do. Not too much work, but turtles definitely require some kind of attention and work, I guess. And one other thing that I like to do for them is, if you'll see that right there, I think you can see it. That's a like a treat block, and that has a lot of vitamins and minerals in it. And those are very good for them, but you also have to clean a lot more often with that, because I don't know if you can see all those little speckles there. That all dissolves off that, and then that like falls down into the rocks and make you have to clean it a lot more. But it gives them better health, I guess. So that's about all we have to do for the turtles. I've put this sludge stuff in that I showed you earlier. I put that in recently, so they're not going to need that right now, but you do add that every once in a while. And so that's about all that I do for them, typically. There's a few other things like the rock vac and stuff like that that I said, but here's my turtles. There he is right there. He's coming to say bye. And then we're going to move on to the fish. Alright, so now we're over here at my 10-gallon freshwater fish aquarium. And it's very important to make sure that you don't carry any diseases from the fish to the turtles, or to the turtles for the fish. So I always keep a bottle of hand soap right here. Always want to make sure that you clean before. That's why you never want to use it on the same thing. So like my rock vac, I actually sometimes do use the same rock vac, but if I do, I replace all the water. I don't ever use any of the same cleaning equipment, never cross filters or anything like that. I could, not that I could even, because it's a whole different filtration system I have here. So for the fish, I'm going to give you a rundown of what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about food, aquarium salt, aquarium filtration, air circulation. I'm going to talk about stress coat, as well as this AquaSafe Plus stuff here. This is good, very good stuff right here. Is there anything else I'm going to do? If there is that I've forgotten, we'll just do it in a minute. But I'm going to show you guys one hack that I like to do. It's actually very helpful. Any of you that have a small aquarium, you might want to use this also. You take a chopstick just like this, and I'll give him the camera and I'll show you. It's very good for when you work on your aquarium. You just prop it up just like that, and I actually have two. I like to put one just over here too. That way, I don't have to set this lid. You can see condensation gets all up here, and then that's all wet, and then I set it on the rug and it gets all dirty. So this, I can just leave the lid on. If you have a small tank that like this that doesn't have a nice prop or anything, it's a good hack just to use those. So now I'm going to go ahead and give him the camera back. And the first thing we're going to talk about in these fish is food. With the turtles, I started on light, and for fish, this light's not actually necessary. This is just a viewing light. I have it set on white right now, but it switches through all the colors just to make it look like cool. That's not actually necessary for their health. But what is this nice food right here. This is the Tetra Pro Tropic Color. And you'll see it actually has these little specks in the middle. And that's actually like a shrimp, little particles of shrimp and stuff that they put in there. And this is good stuff for these little freshwater fish. Bigger fish need obviously different stuff. So I usually pinch out like a little bit just to start, and then I'll go ahead and drop that in there. So I have about 8 freshwater fish. I have some giant Danios, red-eyed Tetras, some mollies, Platy. I believe it's called a blue tail Tetra. Did I say the giant Danio already? No, I don't know if I said that. Anyway, and I also have 3 freshwater eels. That's also I'm going to say it that way so you guys know what it means. But it's not actually a freshwater eel. They are called leeches. I mean, leeches. Now I just messed up. They're called loaches. Okay, so I just said leech because everyone says, oh, I want to see your leech. And I say, it's not a leech, it's a loach. And you're not going to be able to see it because they burrow in all these nice natural rocks here. But, I have to make sure that I drop some for them too, because or else these greedy fish will all take it up. I'll show you some of them eating. These fish are crazy about their food. And so what I like to do is I take one of my chopsticks down, and it's a little bit of work, so I'm not going to film it right now, but I put in about the same amount of thing, and then I push it down to the bottom with one of those chopsticks to make sure it lands in the rocks, because these fish will not eat off the rocks. Oh, there's one of the loaches. I don't know if you can see that. You see that little worm thing right there? That's actually one of my loaches. I'm very glad it came out, because they very, very rarely ever come out. I don't know if you can see that. I really hope you can. Right behind that barrel, that black and orange kind of stripe thing. Anyway, that's one of my loaches. So, after feeding, we're going to move on to... Oh, this is one of the things I forgot. Heating. You always want to have a good heater. And this heater, I've been having some problems with it. So, I just had to do a master kind of reset thing that I do to it. And now it's heating up the water good. But I'm going to need to get that replaced because it is not being very, not being very reliable right now. But anyway, the next thing we're going to move on to is I'm going to do filtration. So, just like the turtles, they need a good filter. But I'm actually going to need to close this to work on the filter. but they don't need as strong as the turtles because they're not as, well, almost lost my bucket right there. This is where I store all my aquarium supplies. So anyway, they're not quite as dirty creatures, I guess. For this, I like to use the Aquatech Ultra Quiet because it's a very quiet filter, and it can filter tanks from 5 to 15 gallons. I got mine from the local Walmart. I don't know where you can get yours, but probably someplace like that. This is a very good filter. I haven't really had any problems with it. I like to keep my spare filters in a little bag. And the nice thing about these is they come with the gravel pre-installed. Listen to that. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's the gravel shaking around. You can kind of see it through the back. So changing the filter in this is actually much easier if you'll come up here. So this is my filter. It definitely has some evaporated salt on there, but anyway, we open that right up and we have two things. First of all, we have this same filter here. I'm going to need to get to my bucket. Hold the camera a little higher. We have this same filter here. Same thing I just got out, and you can see how dirty that is. You can go ahead and drop that in there just with all the other ones to be thrown away later. And then we also have this yellow piece here, and you'll see it's not too dirty. It's like a secondary backup, and then it also helps add water. So I would clean that if it was dirty, but it's not really, so we're just going to go ahead and put that back right there. And then behind it goes our main filter right here. Slides just down in place. Very easy. This is the suck up tube, and then it comes back out right there. Close that back over. Throw away our trash right here later. Very easy. Same thing, we use a gravel vac often with this to keep the water very clean, but I've done that recently, so it doesn't really need it. I'm going to go ahead and prop this back up now, and I'm going to show you about aquarium salt. So, no, this is not a saltwater aquarium, but a freshwater fish, you'll see this is aquarium salt, but for freshwater fish. It's all natural. They still need it. It is good for their skin, or not skin, but gills, obviously, and scales. But this is good. It like kind of treats the water for them. And a lot of people say just bury it in the rocks, throw it behind a plant. But fish sometimes want to eat this, and it's not very good for them to eat it out of the block. So here's another tip that I like to do. This is very easy. Most people don't really do this, but I don't know why. You just pour, and you use about a teaspoon, but that's not really important, so I just always eyeball it. That's about enough. I just throw it down in the filter. That way, no chunks will ever come out, and it won't come into the water. Okay, a few floated in, obviously, but not very many, and that doesn't really matter. And it'll come out as soon as it gets all dissolved down. But at that point, then it's just good. And I would use more, but with those loaches, they're not as tolerant to it, so I like to use less than typical. That was actually probably a little bit more than I should have, but my loaches have been pretty tolerant of it. The next thing is, they don't need this because I've done it recently, but this is stress coat. This is especially good for adding new fish or after water changes, or if they seem to be stressed out in any way, you put that in and that calms them right down. And then this right here is just aquarium treatment. Even though I do put distilled water in here, I still like to treat it a little bit. Not as much as really needed. I bought this a long time ago and still have like just a little bit less than half left. The fish don't really require too much more. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything, but I don't really think I have. Other than mainly cleaning this, you can see I do need to clean that, but you obviously just clean that with a paper towel or a sponge or something. I keep my net and all my supplies in this basket. I always keep backup water. You can see those jugs I have down there. Might be a little too dark, but anyway. This is my manual. If I ever have a problem, I can look in there. This is what I put them in if I ever need to clean it. Just a little glass mason jar type thing. Empty water bottles. This is something, this is not really, this kind of has nothing to do with the fish, but you can see my power strip right there. That's actually very important to keep it on a power strip. That way, if water was to ever come down, it'll go off the drip loop and not go into your wall and start an electrical fire. Well, the water will just fall off the wire before it ever gets there. Here's my kind of, it's not a wire brush, but it's a very rough brush. And I'll clean that with it, just like that. You can see it's already very clean. But I'm not going to do that right now. Go ahead and set that back down. And that's about all that the fish require. Okay, before we move on from the fish, I'm going to show you one more thing. These are vacation feeders. These are just weekend ones right here. You can see I've written 3-day on there. It's just an empty old box. But these are good. They're just like the food, but it's hard in the block, and it'll slowly dissolve over the amount of time that you buy it for. You get them to look like little things. That one's a starfish. I have a what's that, a shell, I guess. Doesn't really matter. Just you just drop it in there if you're going on a little weekend when you can't feed them, or you can get them bigger. I've used them for like up to 10 days. So I thought I'd just add that in there. A lot of people don't know that, and then they like hire people to come babysit some fish. So now let's move on to Lily. So now we're out here to take care of Lily. Some of you would think it's going to be kind of funny that I'm making a video on how to take care of a dog, because that's kind of a little bit more obvious, a lot more like a person. But I wouldn't be able to make a taking care of my pets video without Lily. So I think she's actually sleeping on one of her beds. She has a bed here and then one over there. But this is just her food bowl. It's a pretty obvious stuff, but I'll just show you the food that we buy her. It's a good quality, Taste of the Wild. I believe it's salmon and rice. Always make sure she has cold water, and then a lot of exercise. Toys there. Always have toys outside. I'll show you what we buy her. Alright, so in the middle of that last shot, my GoPro session actually died, so now we're back on the Hero Plus. But I was just saying I'm going to show you what we feed Lily. I'm not actually going to feed her right now because it's not really her feeding time. It's a little too early for that. We keep it in here with the pantry, that way the ants are less likely to get to it. But it's a Taste of the Wild. I think it's medium or large sized dog food, and then we give her a cup. So we fill it up to like that line there. And she loves it. Other than that, there's not really much that you do for a dog other than love it and play with it and feed it and water it. But I'm making this sound like owning a dog is like pushed to the backside. It's not. Here she is. Look, she came to see us. Hi, puppy. You're just a lot easier than those other animals. Anyway, look, she heard me rustle the food. She thinks she's gonna eat. No, it's not eating time yet. You can get you some water. So other than that, you just exercise them, and they're pretty much like a human. Most of you probably have dogs, you probably already know that. But now we're moving on to the bird feeder. They're technically not my pets, but we feed them and they stick around outside a lot. So here's our bird food kind of cabinet thing. This is a little scoop I use. And then I wanted to show you a difference. This here is crappy bird food. You see all those pellets in there? That's like trash. That's what stores, just like supermarkets like Kroger. I'm not hating on Kroger, but that's just like the crap that they throw in it. This is expensive, good bird food. Actually has nuts and real berries, not just fake dyed rice. So I ended that clip a little bit early. My mom just got home. But here's my bird feeder. It's called the Squirrel Buster. It has this spring, and it keeps those... Hey, there goes the birds now. It keeps the squirrels from eating up all the bird food. When you take it down just like that, and then you slide this up, slip that off, and this slips off just like that. It's not too empty, but I'm just going to fill it up some anyway. So I'm going to get my tripod kind of set up. So this is the KT Wild Bird Food waste free, because it's already cracked, so they're not going to drop those stupid shells and stuff that they're not actually going to eat. So I just take this little scoop, fill it up like that until it's full to the top. And man, these birds out here are greedy. They will eat this up in like 3 days. 3 days I'll come back and do this again. And I know this is kind of stupid because the birds aren't really my pets, but we take care of them, so I was just going to add them to this video. Someday we might get chickens, I don't really know. But anyway, fill it up just like that. And you're going to slip the cover back on. Oh, that was in the shot. My cameraman walked away. Anyway, slip that on just like that. And then this slips in just like that. And then spins up there. And now they have a nice snack to eat for a few days. Hang it right on there. This is our bird feeder, screwed into this post real strong with a little cardinal up on top right there. And this keeps the squirrels from eating it. The birds aren't heavy enough to push that down, but the squirrels blocks them away from it. Now just clean up this mess. And that's about it. Alright, so that's about it. We just took care of the turtles, Taz&Ty, the fish tank over there, of course Lily, and give the birds a little something to eat. Be sure to like and leave a comment if any of this stuff I taught you has kind of helped, or any of the tips. taking care of all these animals, any of them. Even if you just have a bird feeder, maybe I helped you at least a little. Or leave a comment and tell me what I could do better, any faster way to do the filter or clean the water, or not have to clean the water if there's any product that like does that for you. But that's about it. And in this video I was going to do kind of some underwater shots because I do have the waterproof GoPros filming especially the turtle and the fish over here. But I think this video is getting kind of long, so comment if you want to see that. And if you do, we can do kind of like a little video underwater of the animals. Just kind of in their natural, or not natural, because obviously they're in an aquarium now, but what they do naturally, I guess. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.